Welcome to Sal's Classic Bodybuilding Archives. Today's summarized reading comes from Muscle and Fitness magazine, December 1982, where Arnold teaches you how to get really big and massive. Enjoy. We live in an age of bodybuilding technology, but the basic questions have never changed. How do you force your body to grow? How do you become monstrously big? And the answer is the same today as it has always been. In order to get big, you have to get strong. Getting big, getting huge, gaining 20 or 30 pounds of muscle mass in a hurry. That's a problem I faced when I was 16 years old, and so did big men like Reg Park and Bill Pearl. The first step is to really believe that becoming massive is possible. You have to accept the idea that you too have the privilege of being huge. Forget about genetics and body types. Set your own personal goals and work as hard as you can toward achieving them. The mind always poops out before the body. Remember that. If you have doubts, if you don't really believe, then you will fail. You create your own limits. The next step is to train very hard, concentrating on basic exercises. This involves heavy weight and the most fundamental movements. Barbells and dumbbells instead of cables and machines for the most part, and power movements, using all the muscles of the body. To repeat, to get big, you have to get strong. There is no such thing as big without strong. Don't let anyone kid you. The basic exercises I recommend are chest, bench press, incline press, dumbbell flies, back, chins, rowing, T-bar, seated cable, and bent over. Shoulders, shoulder press, press behind the neck, laterals. Arms, barbell and dumbbell curls, triceps extensions, weighted dips. Legs, squats, leg press, leg extension, leg curls. No matter what exercises you use, you have to work with heavy weights and low reps in order to force the body to grow. For each exercise, start with a 12-rep warm-up set, then do 6 more sets, increasing the poundages each set, decreasing the reps down to just 1 rep for the last 2 sets, and going to failure each set. Increase the weight as much as necessary so that you do go to failure on each set, and rest between sets. Intensity is another concept that may confuse the younger bodybuilder intent on developing big muscles. Frequently, I read that you should do your workout in less and less time, an hour's worth of training in 40 minutes. For the new bodybuilder, I recommend the opposite. Taking an hour and a half to do what you would normally do in an hour. This way, you recover completely between sets, so you can use your maximum strength in every single lift instead of outrunning your endurance and getting too tired to lift heavy. But some young bodybuilders get carried away with the idea of weight. They use such poor technique that their bodies don't grow as they should, and they also increase their risk of injury. Weight is just a means to an end, and that end is putting as much stress as possible on the muscles. You need to lift heavy if you want the muscle to grow. But if you start doing barbell curls, for example, and you swing and sway and you use your back muscles to help the lift, you aren't making the biceps work hard enough. You just fool yourself if you think cheating like this will make your muscles grow. If you are really trying to grow, one thing you don't want to do is overtrain. Even when I was still a beginner, I preferred training 6 days a week, but was careful to train each individual body part no more than twice a week. When you train only twice a week, each muscle has plenty of time to recuperate from a really healthy workout. Diet is also important in getting big. Many young bodybuilders try to put on size just by eating a lot. Steaks, whole chickens, gallons of milk. But the body can only use so much food at one time, and any more just turns to fat. Bodybuilders used to bulk up, mistaking fat for real size. The fact is, when you get fat, your body builds muscle more slowly than when you stay lean. It takes energy to sustain fat, after all, and that energy has to come from somewhere. But you do need to eat in order to grow. I recommend eating several smaller meals instead of a few big ones. I would always eat a good breakfast and then follow it up with a protein drink after training. By eating 4 meals a day and consuming a couple of protein drinks, you have the equivalent of 6 meals a day, and you always have the protein and carbohydrate your body needs. Make no mistake, this kind of diet won't produce definition, but it's the best way to grow. If you see yourself putting on fat instead of muscle, cut back on the food intake a little, or train a little harder. Once you get used to carrying around that fat, it will be all the harder to get rid of. In addition to your mass building program, you should also work your calves and abs. Calves grow slowly, so you have to start early. Abs are so important that they should never be neglected. Once I started using the heavier weight, my calves really grew. So remember that muscle is muscle. If you want it to grow, you have to train it heavy. That's just as true for calves as for arms or shoulders. Being big is not enough to make you a great bodybuilder, but you need mass before you can develop the symmetry, proportion, shape, and muscularity it takes to be a Mr. Universe or Mr. Olympia. The biggest man doesn't always win, but if you aren't big enough, you don't even make it to the contest. Mass is the clay that a bodybuilder shapes into a fine piece of sculpture. Mass is not quality, but you can't have quality without the basic structure. A young bodybuilder doesn't have to worry about complicated training principles. He should concentrate on training hard, eating right, and getting big without getting fat. Remember, to get big, you have to get strong. The two are interconnected. Lift heavy, work hard, and size will come. Like night follows day, it works. Well, thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe, and also share. And until the next video, keep training.